Hey there, welcome to the Uke Stuff channel. I wanted to do a follow-up video to this device right here. It is the Ukulele Chord Changer, which is available at ukechordchanger.com. They recently emailed me about one of my videos that I did about this in the past in my review of it, and I want to clarify a couple of things and then also remind you of what my role is with this, or my relationship is with this. So in my review, I talked about two things that I didn't like about this. One is that all the chords are major chords. So if we look across here, we get C7, C, G7, A7, F, D7, G, and D as choices. Now, if you buy this, you also get a booklet with it, or you can buy it with a booklet, and that booklet also spells out different ways you can play other chords with the combination of the buttons pressed here, or just with the separate strings on the ukulele. Let me show you how that gets connected here. Now, this is a Sugar Skulls Ukadelic ukulele by Kala, or Makala. I guess at this point they were calling them by Kala, and it's not the greatest instrument, but it'll work for this demonstration. What you do is you take the Uke Chord Changer, you put the little plastic tabs all the way up to the nut, then you put these rubber straps and lock them on the back on these tabs like this, and then when you press the button down and strum, you get that chord. F, back to C, G7, back to C. Now, there are other chords you can play as well. However, there are no minor chords there, although, for example, if you just play strings 1, 2, and 3, you get your A minor. You can play other combinations to get other chords and other string combinations. Now, let's talk about my reality with this device. Students are generally, on our flights here, learning how to play just standard ukulele with standard fingers. In fact, we do offer the ability to learn left-handed as well, but then they're using the correct shapes in their fingers. Where we will use these and things like this is when we have a student that has a physical impairment to not be able to play those chords, and they can still participate with the instrument. Now, most of those students are also not going to be able to have the motor control to play just strings 1, 2, and 3 to get an A minor. So that's where I'm coming from, saying that I wish it had an A minor up here. For the average person using this instead of learning the chords, yeah, you can probably just play strings 1, 2, and 3. But for me, that's not going to work very well, or for my students. And in education, this is going to be an assistive device rather than a long-term solution for a player that could make the chords themselves. By the way, this device itself, I believe, goes back to the 1950s. I believe the company bought out the trademark that this used to be sold with the Macaferry ukuleles. The other thing that I don't really like about this design is that the buttons are small and can be difficult to press, just uncomfortable. I think the word difficult is wrong, but uncomfortable to press. Your fingers have to sort of get used to pressing them, and the buttons can be pretty close together. Beyond that, our school district, when we bought the new flight ukuleles for all of our elementary schools, each school got a set of 40 of these. We also bought 2 of these for each school to have on hand as an assistive device if they need it. So yes, even after my video, even after saying the negatives here, we also bought these for our students. This company has been around for a long time. They're still making them, they're still selling them, they're still supporting them, so they still exist, and that's what we chose to use as an assistive device. Now, I'm just going to use one example of another device that I found right here. And the problem with this one is it doesn't really have a specific name. It changes on Amazon and Walmart all the time, and there are others that look like it, but in my opinion aren't as good. And the reason I like this better than the Uke Chord Changer for what I do in education is that the chords here are more standard chords in the key of C, which is our #1 key that we play in. Definitely the key of C and the key of G, and the relative minors A minor, and then also the key of E minor would be the most common chords that we play in. And in fact, my students this year in 5th grade, with various interruptions and other things, we learn one chord to mastery and then add more chords as we go using the play along videos. Works great. The students really know the chords when we get to that point down the road. They learned 7 chords this year, so they got all the way through E minor this year, which is great. And this almost gets them to all the chords that we learned. So students could pretty much play along with almost everything we did except for the last chord that we learned, that E minor chord. So what chords does it have on it? It has C, G, E minor 7, G7, D minor, A minor, and F. So it has a really good selection of chords in that key of C. It's also a little easier to put on. It just, goes over your neck and then up at the top, very much similar, except there's no rubber bands. The negative is that the letters are not easy to read. If I don't have my glasses on, I'm lost. So that's a negative. I wish that those were filled in. But I like the chord choice better, and the square buttons are a little easier to press. So here's the C chord. F. G7. Deceptive cadence to A minor. F, C, G, D minor, and then also your E minor 7. So yeah, that is why I like that device a little bit better for what I do than the Uke Chord Changer. Now, ultimately, if you are going to be needing a device like this beyond an educational setting, this is probably the better choice because there are more chords here and there are ways to get some semblance of those chords to play. And you could probably work that out with this one too, but it's just not there. But for education, this is probably the better device for us than this one. But again, I'm not saying not to buy this one because this one also has the long-term sustainability of that company and the product, which has been around, again, since 1950. So we're talking like nearly 75 years old, this device, and it's still usable. Yeah, there are a couple negatives, no minors. So again, you can play them, but you have to sort of work your way around it. And then, of course, the small buttons. I don't really have any problem with the rubber straps or anything. That doesn't really bother me at all. I do like the hinge action of this one, as well as the choice of chords and the square buttons. And again, there are other devices yet. I have not used them all. I've not tested them all. These are just the ones that came across. This one obviously has been around forever, but this one came across when I was first getting into ukulele and teaching ukulele and needing some assistive devices. And I know there are teachers out there who have students in that boat right now that are looking for solutions, and that's why I'm talking about this. So again, I don't mean to hurt the feelings of Uke Chord Changer, and again, we bought a number of these in our district even after I made my last video, but again, we also have to be honest about how we use the devices and what they do. Nothing's perfect. There is no perfect solution, and you just have to be aware of what's out there and then make the best decision for your school and your situation. And of course, if you're just looking for a solution in general, look for the chord changer that gives you the best option for your playing as well, which is going to be probably a little different than an educational setting. All right, thanks so much for watching the video. I hope you're having a great day, and I'll be back soon with some more Uke stuff for you.